Fans last night, Rajon Rondo fractured his thumb during practice. The Lakers guard is expected to miss 6 to 8 weeks, according to reports. Fox Sports NBA analyst Chris Broussard is joining us now. Chris, how big of a loss is this for LeBron?
Well, I tell you what, at first, your first reaction is that it just doesn't seem to be lining up for the Lakers. I mean, Avery Bradley decides not to play. Dwight Howard goes to Orlando grudgingly. And now you got Rajon Rondo out, and playoff Rondo is real. You go back and look at some of his numbers. He's been tremendous in the playoffs. So my initial reaction was, this is terrible for the Lakers. But then I began to kind of look at it closer and think about it. And it actually might be a situation that could work out for their benefit, because Rondo will be out 6 to 8 weeks. So he should be back for the second round. Mm-hmm. Certainly the conference finals when we think they'll get the Clippers. And during that, I don't think the Lakers, even without Rondo, should lose to any of these teams they meet in the first 2 rounds. And this will give Alex Caruso, Quinn Cook more time to get acclimated to playoff basketball. So when Rondo gets back, maybe those guys are playing at their premium level. And Rondo, I think with his experience, should be able to step right in and play well. The one series that could give them problems would be Houston. If they get the Rockets in the second round, we already know the Rockets' small ball against the Lakers' size was going to be an interesting matchup. But now we know the perimeter is the Rockets' strength, and you've taken away 2 of the better and more experienced defenders from the Lakers in Avery Bradley and Rondo. That could, the Rockets' speed and their small ball maybe now could give the Lakers more of a problem, but I think they'll survive it, still get to the Clippers in the conference finals, and then Rondo should be back by then.
I agree, but the thing that's concerning for me, Chris, is that you lose basically 45 minutes. You look at Avery Bradley playing 20 minutes, Rondo playing about 20 minutes, and as you mentioned, Rondo is one of the few players in NBA history that increases his points and assists come playoff time. There are very few players that can say, and his rebounding, that he increases all 3 areas when the playoffs are here. And Chris, he's had games in which he scored 40 points in the playoffs. He's had high team assist totals. I mean, he once had 24, 28 assists in a game in 3 quarters. So we know what he represents. Is he that on-ball defender that Avery Bradley is? Patrick Beverley? No, that's not his game. But he is an old-school point guard. He gets his team in and out of plays. He can handle that. He's been there. He's been the starting point guard on a championship team. He's been on a starting point guard on a team that lost. So he's gone deep and made deep playoff runs, and he's a contributor. He understands his role. But as you mentioned, that gives Caruso, that gives Quinn Cook opportunities. I think now the signing of J.R. Smith, the signing of Dion Waiters, we're going to see those guys get more minutes, because how many more minutes can you give Danny Green, Caldwell Pope? I think you want to kind of keep those guys in the mid-20s as far as minute plays. And if necessary, they could bump that up to 30. But I think but you know what? As long as we got old Gold James and AD, we're going to be all right. We're all right.
May I interject to say, would both of you just stop it? I am sick and tired of both of you trying to reach and look and prod and probe for excuses for LeBron James. He doesn't need any excuses. He is the best point guard in basketball, and he just got 5 months off to refresh, to reinvigorate for a big playoff run in a bubble in Orlando. He is all in for basketball. This will have no effect. In fact, I can make the case, as I did earlier to Shannon, that Rondo can be addition by subtraction. Sometimes if you stick him in the bubble where you have to be around him 24 hours a day, he rubs everybody wrong and drives everybody crazy. See his early Motel 6 post about, how can I live in this? Oh, stop it. We're in a pandemic. People across this country have lost jobs, Rondo, and you're stuck in the Motel 6 that does it. It looks like about a Motel 12 to me that you're stuck in right now.
Did it leave the lights on for him?
Yeah, they did. So, Chris, you have to explain to people that Rajon Rondo has been on 6 teams in 7 years for a reason. He's not that valuable. He will not defend all the time. Sometimes when he picks his spots, he can defend, or at least he can disrupt and steal the ball. Occasionally, he'll get a hot hand from three, but it's rarely that he gets hot because mostly he's a liability of a shooter. Mostly he does what LeBron does at 6 feet, 1 inch tall. I mean, what's the problem? LeBron should be so fresh, so healthy. He can play 40-odd minutes a game from here on out because that's what Jordan did in Chicago. The closeout game 6 at Utah, one of the great games you'll ever see a man play. He played 44 minutes and scored 45 points, including the hold the pose game winner. That's what the real GOAT did, the phony GOAT. You've got him, and he's got a co-star in Anthony Davis, who I think is really healthy, and he's always beat up. But Rondo's always hurt. Now he's broken his thumb, his forefinger, and his middle finger on his shooting hand all in the last 2 years. So come on. And as you say, he'll probably be back for the second round. So what's the big deal? Avery was a bigger loss than Rondo was.
Skip, I've been on TV with you long enough to know that everything you just said was to set up LeBron, to put the pressure on LeBron, that if he doesn't win it, then there was no excuse. Don't tell me about Rondo. Don't tell me about Avery Bradley, all of that. And look, I mean, look, he's still got Anthony Davis. You're right. He's still got Danny Green, Dwight Howard. He's got a good roster and a good squad. But these losses are significant. And here's the other thing, Skip. I've talked to a few former players who said that as they got older, it took them longer to get going. Now, I'm not saying that'll definitely be the case with LeBron, but guys told me it would take them 20, 25 games to really get going as they got into their late 20s or early 30s. So we'll have to see, does this, time off help LeBron in terms of, we know he's going to be fresh, but is he rusty? Is he fresh and picks off, right where he left off? Or is he rusty and it takes him a little time to get going? At his age, we'll have to wait and see about that.
I'm going to throw this stat, and Chris, you're going to like, you didn't know this. LeBron James has led his team in points, rebound, and assists 45 times in his playoff career. That's tied with Akeem, Duncan, Magic, Bird, and Jordan combined. That's why you asking this man to play 45, 46 minutes a night, and he's leading his team. Think about the names I just rolled off. He has as many games leading his teams in 3 categories than those Pantheon greats combined. Come on, Skip, stop playing with this man. Put some respect on his name.
But time out. I'm giving in to your phony premise that he's the GOAT. And if he's the GOAT, show me you're the GOAT. Some Rondo or Avery Bradley, they're just guys. They're just hogs.
No.
To the GOAT, it's like they're barnyard chickens and pigs to the GOAT, right? Am I right? They're just things. The GOAT will flourish without Rondo. Now, if you lose Kevin Love and Kyrie, now you're talking. Okay. Yet he had them. He had them dead to rights. Game 4, Kings Palace, Cleveland, Ohio. Where are you, LeBron? You hit the wall. I don't know what happened. I guess you ran out of gas.
Skip, you know how many times in NBA history these also-rans have really been the difference. I mean, Jim Paxson, Steve Kerr hitting, big shots. Even when Ray Allen hit the shot in Miami, he was no longer the all-star Ray Allen. He was at the end of his rope. Shane Battier against Oklahoma City. So
Robert Horry
players, yeah, exactly. That maybe the greatest example. So these role players have their moments in the finals. And again, Rondo should be back by then. So if the Lakers get that far.
Okay,
I still got the Clippers. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying also, but what does Rondo do best? He assists at the highest level. He's 4th all time in average assists per game in the playoffs. That's what LeBron does at a much higher level. So what's the problem? What's the issue?
But LeBron can't play 48 minutes a night.
He can play 44 like Jordan did.
Yeah, Skip, that's the problem. The problem is that when you look at LeBron in the playoffs, is when he leaves the court.
Okay, what about the Caruso? That's all. I watch the local Laker games. All I hear is Caruso. He's in.
But we got to say Caruso regular season and Caruso when the marbles are on the table and for good. Yeah, that's a whole different ball game. So we're gonna have to see how this thing plays out.
Maybe he'll be Paxson or Kerr.
There you go. See.
All right, we're going to have Chris stick around for this next one. LeBron is saying that he's only going to wear his last name on his jersey. I'd like Chris's take on this as well when we come back.